begin with some of the story that shaped her. Her younger years were beautifully captured by her sister Eileen, whose words preserved their family's journey with such love and detail. Mom was born on January 8, 1943 in Holland, the second youngest of 7, as you can see in this photo here. She grew up surrounded by her brothers Henry, Bill, Arnold, Leo, and John, and her sister Eileen. Their childhood was filled with simple joys, orchards full of fruit that they would stop on the way home from their long walks from school or church and pick the fruit, even though they weren't supposed to. Walks to the beach, long bike rides, afternoons at the sand dunes, and swimming holes. Swimming holes, do you remember those? Some of you may not. And the companionship of friends and family and neighbors. It was also a life of hard work, with early mornings milking cows, and sometimes there were moments of wonder too. Like when her dad, our Opa, would wake Mom up and her siblings up in the middle of the night to see the northern lights dancing in the sky in Manitoba. And of course, there were funny moments too. One story Mom never lived down was when she peed in her sister's new pumps. I don't know if she was angry. She said she was doing it in her sleep. We still don't know to this day, but we do still chuckle about it. Those experiences, the work, the wonder, the joy, and even the mischief shaped the kind of mom and grandmother that she became. Someone who knew the value of hard work, who could find beauty in the everyday, and who created moments and memories for her family that we would cherish for a lifetime. In 1948, just a few years after living through the hardships of World War II, my nanny and Opa made a courageous decision. They were allowed to bring only $200 with them. They left Holland, they left everything behind, and built a new life in Canada. After 9 days of crossing the Atlantic, they arrived in Halifax and eventually settled in Selkirk, Manitoba. Life there was tough. The winters were bitter, and the house they moved into was little more than a drafty shack. And yet, in the bare and uncertain place, my nanny hung a crucifix on the wall and declared, "This is our home." With that faith and determination, they endured creating a home where love and resilience carried them through the hardest of days. The challenges were real, the house was cold and unfinished, and in the bitter Manitoba winters, they even piled manure outside the house to keep the house warm. And they kept bees in the basement so they would live through the winters. The children worked side by side with their parents on the farm, reading English books aloud to learn the language because they came with no English. Each step shaping their future. And still their father would remind them, if you don't try, you'll never know. But their journey was not without heartbreak. My Opa passed away very young, at the age of 51, leaving my nanny to carry on with such faith, determination, and love for her children around. That resilience became part of the foundation of who Mom was and how she would later face challenges in her own life. Later, the family moved to Chatham, where Sundays became legendary. As many as 40 people would gather around the table every Sunday for coffee, homemade raisin bread that my nanny would make, and my grandpa cut hair. I did not know that. Some of this is new information for me. I thought, wow, what a scene. I don't know if I'd want him to cut my hair, but he cut hair, and they shared stories. They really built community. Their home was a place where everyone was welcome. Neighbors, friends, and even new immigrants who were finding their footing in the new country. That spirit of hospitality and generosity left a lasting mark on my mom, shaping the way she would later welcome and care for others throughout her own life. I think I forgot to put waterproof mascara on this morning, so if I did, excuse my black running down my face. A few years later, they moved again, this time to St. Thomas, where Mom spent her teenage years. After grade 10, she made a decision to leave school and work full-time at the Royal Bank so that she can help support her family. That selflessness and work ethic defined her life. In 1960, she boarded a train west to volunteer in the Diocese of Prince George for 2 years. And she worked in schools across northern BC. It was there that she met the love of her life, my dad, Kevin Joseph Tobin. We have many of the Tobins here today. Thank you. They were married in 1969, and on January 31st, 1971, my twin brother Sean and I were born. Funny story about that, my mom's best friend at the time said, "You're gonna have twins." And the doctor says, "No, you're just gonna have one healthy baby." I came out and the doctor says, "Oh, there's another one." And then 5 minutes later he came out, not a word of a lie. My dad was scrambling for having to buy another car seat, having to buy another, and my mom said, "I told you
car
so."
seats.
Oh yeah, that is true. A funny story about that, my mom, when my nanny came to visit us, we were babies, and we had a Dodge Dart, and they put a mattress in the back seat and threw us on the mattress, and we drove to Jasper and Banff without car seats, and we still survived. All through her pregnancy, people kept saying she was going to have twins, and the doctor said, "No, just one healthy baby." I already said that, sorry. Mom and Dad built incredible friendships in Prince George and in Denver, many of whom Mom stayed connected with to the very end. Just before our third birthday, tragically, my father lost his life on December 2nd, 1973. He was killed on the job at work on a day that he wasn't actually called in to, he was called in to go to work that day. And over 500 people attended his funeral, one of the largest ever held in Prince George at that time. And that was truly a testament to who he was. Mom was 30 years old, suddenly a widow with twins, and yet she faced the unimaginable loss with courage and faith. She poured her love, her energy, and her strength, as much as she could muster up, into us. Was she perfect, Mom? No. But she gave us what mattered most: a roof over our head, food on the table, lots of love and faith. Oh, and she made me try liver and onions once, and I'll never forget that day, and it was the last time I ever ate liver and onions.
So good.
I was young when she made me do that. She said, "You have to try something once. If you don't like it, you don't have to have it again." I think I spit it in the toilet after. In 1976, she moved back to St. Thomas to be closer to her family. She was grieving. It was really tough for her. And at that time, we were teenagers. She was, I think it was, we moved when we were 6, and about 6 years later, she faced a burnout. I don't know if it was a full nervous breakdown, but she was completely exhausted. And not knowing what to do, she took a leap of faith and joined Mary Kay. I'll never forget the day Heather Armstrong walked into our home, drove all the way from Windsor to meet my mom, because my mom's friend Erica said, "You need to meet this lady. She's a diamond in the rough." And she really was a diamond in the rough. And that day forever changed our life. Thank you, Heather, for believing in Mom until she could believe in herself. Mom earned pink Cadillacs, and most importantly, she formed friends that lasted a lifetime. And Fernanda is here as one of her Mary Kay friends, and Barb, and several others. Mom was a present parent. Our home was often the hangout place for our friends. Greg, my second brother. We were just 5-minute walk from school, and we had a little ritual in the morning. We would say prayers, and then we'd walk off to school. Well, our friends would meet us, and my mom would say, get in, we're gonna say prayers, and it just became a ritual that we did every day, and then we would walk to school. Mom would, of course, make them join, and I think Greg reluctantly maybe a couple of times, but he said, well, I want to be part of this family, so I have to do what Mama Jo said. Fast forward many years to the last 3 years of her life, because I only have 5 minutes, and I could talk for hours about my mom. Mom became known here at Burloak as Miss Universe. That's what they called her, and every time they said, hello, Miss Universe, if she was having a bad day, she would spark up, her eyes would brighten up, she would smile, and she just loved the staff, each and every one of you, truly. Even in this season, her greatest joy of all was being a grandmother to Cole, Ayame, and Kevin. She wrote songs for each of them. We'll play those at the Celebration of Life when we have that in November, and she sang them as well. So we have copies of her singing songs that she wrote and would sing to the kids when they were younger. Sean's wife, Asami, was also like a daughter to her, and she brought her so much happiness. With all this to say, Mom's story is one of courage, resilience, and love. She faced unimaginable loss, but yet kept giving and welcoming others with open arms. She often said, you become like the people you surround yourself with, and she lived that truth. Her legacy is not only what she accomplished, but the countless of lives that she touched along the way. Whether it was making meals for a family, volunteering at a church, always having an open door for those who needed support, she truly gave selflessly. In closing, I want to say that heaven has gained a new angel, and here on earth, Mom has left behind the most incredible legacy. In her final hours, Burloak became a place of hospice. And she was given an honor walk, a send-off, more beautiful than I could have ever written myself. Free from the weight of Lewy Body Dementia, she is now whole. She's now at peace, and she's now reunited with my dad and her loved ones, dancing in the sky and resting safely in the arms of her Lord and Savior. I am forever grateful for the angels on earth, the staff and the families at Burloak who cared for her these past 3 years, day in and day out. And the many friends and loved ones who supported us and our family through these last 3 years. Thank you. On behalf of our family, thank you again for being here today to honor our Mom's life. And until we meet again, Mom, I will carry your strength and grace with me always.